Good morning welcome to the Daily Reset, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the fifth piece of the series we have been covering. We started off by talking about the fractures. And of all the fractures that we spoke about, the one fracture I want you to make sure you go back to is the fracture of ownership. Ownership. The fracture of ownership, because when ownership is fractured, we externalize. We forget about our internal architecture and begin to be dictated by what is going on around us. And then the second day we spoke about the hungers, the 4 hungers, and each of the hungers came with a descriptor, the word deep. Deep aliveness, deep connection, deep meaning, and what we are touching on today covers all of them, but it specifically points to deep fulfillment. And then we proceeded to speak about the old instructions and connected that with the 4 decisions. And today we speak about the 4 forces. The 4 irresistible forces that will shape your 2026. We spoke yesterday about software, that is the upgraded instructions we installed yesterday, so that we can eliminate the old instructions and begin to use new instructions. And we spoke about the operating system, which is the 4 decisions that give you the power to be where you are, to bring your perspective, your strategy, your foundation, and your ownership and the new instructions to the moment where you are, so that you are no longer fragmented across multiple timelines. You are seated in your house, but part of you is in the market. Another part is withdrawing money from M-Pesa. Another one is in the Chama. Another one wishes they had gone on vacation. The practice of being able to pull all of you to one place. Now, there is always software and an operating system running in your life. Always. It's either it is intentional software that you chose, intentional operating system you've installed, that's what we were working on yesterday, or one that was handed over to you by your upbringing, your history. Now the question is, they are always running. What are they running towards? What are they running towards? Are they running towards the healing of the fractures? Or are they just running to whatever shows up at our door? The forces that will shape 2026 for you, whether you are conscious or not, they will shape your 2026. If they are unconscious, they shape you. But if they are conscious, you shape them. Shaping is going to happen. It's either you're being shaped or you shape the forces. You shape how they affect you. And the purpose of today is to make the 4 forces conscious. I want you to take down 4 words. The first word is clarify. The first word is clarify. The second word is specify. The third word is exclude. And the fourth word is expand. Can you say those to yourself? You don't need to unmute or anything. Clarify, specify, exclude, expand. The first force that will shape your life in 2026 and is already shaping your life is desire. And desire asks you one question. What do you want? What do you want? And in 2026, you are called to do one thing with your desire. Clarify it. clarify your desire, because desire is the engine that moves everything. Desire is the engine that moves everything. Without desire, nothing starts. The areas in your life where you feel stuck, you do not feel stuck because you do not have the energy or the attention or the time. It's because you don't have a desire. You don't have a strong enough, clear enough desire. I want us to do a very quick example. Very, very quick example. Okay? Listen to the instructions. You're going to take in a really, really, really deep breath. Deep enough to fill your belly and your chest, as much air as you can take in. Okay? And then you will breathe out all the way, and I will encourage you. And then you will lock your throat. You will hold it there. And then from there, I will count for you. So, relax yourself, get ready. I need to unpin myself so that I can see. I'm only seeing a very few people. All right, so you will breathe in as deep as you can, and then you breathe out all the way, and then you will hold it. You don't breathe back in. Don't be tempted to swallow saliva. That's your body trying to cheat, because when you swallow saliva, some air will escape in. So don't cheat. Okay, at the count of 3, we will all breathe in as deep as possible. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in all the way. All the way. Feel your belly, feel your chest, expand it all the way. All the way. Okay, now I want you to breathe out. Out, expel the air all the way, press in your belly all the way, all the way, all the way. Hold. One desire, irresistible desire, is going to emerge right now. Just hold. 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 I want you to hold as long as you can. Hold, hold, hold. Hold. If you are still holding, I'm here for you. Okay, based on the people I see, all right, release it. On people I see on the video, the majority of you, the desire had already won. So I want you to go to the chat box and tell me, what was the single desire that came up when you did this? Even if you are on video, once the desire took over, it doesn't matter who was looking at you. I see. To breathe. That's the majority of you. Can I see a few more? It's Tairung to live, not to die. Yes. Thank you, Frida. Thank you for all of your participation. But all of you, that is one of the challenges we run into. We know the desire, but we have not clarified it. If it was about breathing, then right now you should be feeling the same intensity of desire you had that time. So what was different about that breath than the one you are taking right now? You are not feeling the same force that you felt at that time when you were taking that breath. So what made that breath different? So clarifying your desire is about being clear about one or two things. About the cost or the payoff. If your desire is not driven by a payoff big enough for you to face any obstacle, or a pain big enough for you to face any obstacle, it is not going to be a driving force. If you don't clarify your desire, you are likely to borrow someone else's. You are likely to receive it from the environment, to copy it from the environment. You are likely to pick desires from other people out of competition or comparison. At the time when you had to breathe, what could I have told you that could have made you to not want to breathe? Nothing. There is nothing else. There is only one thing. Why? The pain was real. In other words, the discomfort was real, that you had to release that pressure. So I don't know for your 2026, what is this truly, truly, truly exciting payoff or this unbearable pain that is going to be the driving force that gets you to go? Because here is the problem. Most people, everyone has desire, but most people have clouded desire. They know what they should want, but not what they really want. We find ourselves wanting what looks impressive. Everything we've done these last 5 days, if all we did was answer the question, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want that you've been afraid to admit? What do you want that you've been told is too much? What do you want that doesn't make sense to anyone else but you? The reason why we find ourselves browsing before we build is because our desire is not clear enough, it's not strong enough. You cannot build consistently toward a borrowed desire. Desire is the first force. Clarify your desire. Here is an uncomfortable question I want you to consider. What can't I stand to experience in 2026 that I experienced in 25, 24, 23? What areas am I willing to be fed up? Where is it time for me to draw a line? Where must I breathe from these external voices that keep criticizing me and beating me down? Where must I breathe new air, let go of some of these regrets, some of these quote-unquote mistakes, the character committed from the past? Where is the price of freedom so worth it that I'm willing to draw a line? This is the clarity that I need so that when I narrow down to set goals in that area, the power behind the desire has to be clear. It has to be so clear that I must breathe, and I must breathe now. Like Esther Irungu said, I must live emotionally and not die. I must live, my freedom must live. My agency must live. My space, I must live in this life. I must experience this aliveness today. If I could spend the entire morning on one desire, one power, it would be desire. Clarifying the desire. And in this case, avoiding pain is more powerful than experiencing pleasure. And this is one area I would definitely make a point of revisiting this, and I want us to cover the other three so that we have a complete piece. The next word I gave you, what's the next word I gave you? What's the next word? If I don't have a word, I don't know how to proceed. The next word is specify. The second force that will shape your life in 2026 is vision. Vision. Desire asks, what do you want? Vision asks you, what would your life look like? What would your life be like? What would your life feel like? In other words, vision is the picture of your desire fulfilled. Vision is the picture of your desire fulfilled. Desire says, I want. And vision says, here is what it looks like. And the brain is a predicting machine. Your mind uses the brain to move toward what you can see. In other words, vague vision creates a vague life, vague results, vague pursuits, vague goals. And that is the problem that most of us have: vague vision. We are foggy, we are fuzzy, we are blurry, we are hazy, we are clouded, we are obscured, we are everything but clear. It's easy to say, I want success. Oh, you want success? Also tell me, how does your Tuesday morning look like in the life where you have succeeded? How does your weekend look? I want freedom. Oh, you want freedom? Okay, so tell me, to do what? With whom? Where? When? Getting clear to the point where you actually have a mental movie. 2015, for me, this became so practical that I look at my life, especially the last 8 months, and it is eerily surreal. That if you can see it, then now you can submit it in prayer. If you can see it, you can write it down. If you can see it, when obstacles and challenges come, you know that there's something bigger. Desire says, what do you want? Vision says, okay, so what will it look like? Desire is in here. Vision says, write it down and make it plain. Who is with you? Where are you? What are you doing? How does your body feel in this life that you so desire? And that is how desire goes out and becomes vision. Because desire is in here, vision stands over there, then this space becomes much easier to navigate. You can now activate the right software, you can implement the right operating system to move you through this space, because now it's no longer just hidden vaguely in here. It is clear, it is out here. Vision is how you put yourself in the life you are building, so that you can be in the life you are building. Because vision without presence, having a clear vision over there without being present in this moment, is living for a destination you will never inhabit. Powerful desire here, clear vision over there. Now let's operate with aliveness, because we know where we are going. We will get there, but I'm not waiting to be happy there. Because what I can see there, if I can see myself waking up at 6 in the morning or 7 or 5 and doing X, Y, and Z in the vision, I can start doing that here. If I see myself in the vision being happy, I can choose to be happy here today. If I can see myself being enduring in the vision, I can pull that here. Aliveness, foundation, perspective, ownership, they now have room to operate. What is the third word, so that we move to the third force? What is the third word I gave you? Anyone? The third word is exclude. Exclude. The third force that will shape your 2026 is decision. Decision, because decision excludes alternatives. If you have a strong desire and you have a clear vision and you cut out alternatives, already you have upgraded your life, your daily life, to such an extent that you have a narrow enough spectrum that you can be fully present, that you can be fully alive. Because the problem is we try to be fully present in 10 realms. And I try to be fully present in everything WhatsApp has, and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and my high school group, everywhere except where I am. Strong desire clarified here, specified vision out there, and now exclude the alternatives. Exclude the alternatives. Decision cuts. What does decision cut? It cuts alternatives. Before you decide, you negotiate. After you decide, you navigate. Before you decide, you have excuses. After you decide, you move into execution. And those are two worlds apart. Before you decide, you have excuses. After you decide, you begin to accumulate evidence. But you cannot accumulate evidence. You cannot try to litigate 40 different cases at the same time if you are a lawyer. At the moment you sit down, you gather evidence for one case. So what are going to be the 2, 3 quote-unquote cases for you this year? Because the problem is most people have never decided. They have wished, they have hoped, they have intended, they have tried, they have meant to, they have had in mind, they have thought of, but they have never cut. They have never eliminated alternatives. It is the elimination of alternatives that makes a decision. Because once you cut, you eliminate alternatives, now you have a place to commit your resources and your focus. And now you can resolve. Now you can say, this piece of meat that I cut, I am going to cook it for the next 2 weeks. So my question for you is, the life you're living right now, the emotions you have, the results you're getting, when did you decide to get them? And did you actually decide to get them, or did you walk into them? Did you slide into them? Did you happen on them? And for 2026, in case you haven't decided what 2026 is going to be about, and deciding is about eliminating alternatives, what are you waiting for? All the 4 decisions we installed yesterday, all of them, they are the force on which the operating system runs. They are the mechanism on which the operating system runs. But the 4 powers we've spoken about today, these are the powers, these are the forces that make everything move, which brings us to probably the single most ignored, yet the single most indispensable force. What is the final word that I gave you, which brings us to the 4th force? Anybody? Thank you. I've seen it. The 4th force is capacity. The 4th force, the 4th irresistible force that is going to shape your life in 2026 is capacity. Capacity asks you a very simple question. What would become of your life? What would become of your life if everything you want became a reality? In other words, how prepared is your container to hold what you're praying for, what you are hoping for, what you're working for, what you are deciding for? If everything you are desiring, everything you want, if it arrived today, can you receive it? Can you sustain it? Can you steward it without losing yourself in it? Because here is what I had learned the hard way. God gives you what you can hold. God gives you what you can hold. And here is an even more startling truth, that when you receive what you can't hold, it's not a blessing. When you receive what you can't hold, it's not a blessing. It is overwhelm, it is collapse, it is submission, it is pressure, it is everything other than blessing. In other words, if your capacity is smaller than your desire, but you receive your desire, something must break. Either your goals or the life you're building breaks, or you break. Something will break. And that's why this is the force that most people hardly ever think about. We find ourselves, most people chase the outcome. They chase outcomes without expanding the container. And then they get what they want, but they can't hold it. Success arrives and they start self-sabotaging. I have seen so many people successfully work their way out of their blessings. And that's because if you are not ready for it and it arrives, it's not a blessing. It's not a blessing. If you have room in your house for 100 liters of water, and I direct to your house 1,000 liters of water, it's not a blessing. I don't know what level of money you have ever handled, right? If I gave you 3 more zeros to the highest amount of money you've ever handled, right? Will it become that trend on Twitter that was called "They Will Know"? There will be signs. The level of responsibility that it will take for you to handle what you're praying for. The level of success that equals what you envision. The level of opportunity, abundance, the pressure that comes with it. And this is where, of everything that we are working on in 2026, first of all, really wielding my capacity to dominate this moment. If I can be fully alive here, then I can expand myself to be able, because everything at the end of the day happens here, now, in this moment. And if I can build the capacity of not just chasing outcomes, but actually being able to center all of me here, like a tree, as my roots keep growing, I can produce more fruit. I can have bigger branches. And that is my challenge. That is my biggest focus this year. Narrowing down to the core skills, to the centralizing force for 2026 for my life. And I hope you can pursue a path like that. And so that all the way from the fractures to the hangers, to the old instructions and old software, to the 4 decisions, and now the 4 forces. Clarify your desire so that your desire is not vague. Specify the vision. Desire is what do you want. The vision is what does it look like. On a canvas, on a video, mental movie. And make the decisions that are specific to the vision so that you can exclude alternatives and expand your capacity. The Daily Reset's goal is to help you expand your capacity in 2026. That is the purpose of the Daily Reset, to help you expand your capacity for depth. In other words, your capacity to have a deep perspective, an intentional strategy, a deliberately built foundation, and ironclad ownership, so that from there then you can actually build on what your hungers are, consistently upgrade the old instructions to the new instructions, upgrade the old software, old operating system to the 4 decisions, and make conscious on an ongoing basis these 4 forces that will definitely shape your life: desire, vision, decision as a cutting mechanism that excludes alternatives, and capacity. Because if you receive what you're praying for and you're not ready for it, it's not a blessing. That's where we conclude this fast 5 days. Tomorrow, we talk only about practice. There will not be any theory. It will just be purely about practice. And if there's a day that you cannot afford to miss, it is tomorrow. I will conclude this here and hand over back to Gladys. Of course, if you have any questions, kindly go ahead and share them in the chat box.